From a really devastating car crash
Yeah.
to the nation's highest civilian honor, all in just 48 hours. Rudy Giuliani's recent saga, well, it's quite a whirlwind, and it really demands a closer look, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. This isn't just about one shocking week.
No. It feels like a powerful lens,
Yeah.
to examine the complex, maybe contradictory layers of his public life and, well, how political legacies get shaped.
Exactly, because you have this event just this past Saturday night, August 30th. Wow. Former Mayor Giuliani, he's 81 now, seriously injured in a car crash up in New Hampshire. We're talking a fractured thoracic vertebra, other pretty significant injuries.
Right. And then, boom, just 2 days later, Monday, September 1st, President Trump announces he's awarding Giuliani the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
The highest civilian honor in the U.S.
It's an astonishing turn.
It's a really stark contrast, isn't it? But what's insightful here, I think, is how this immediate award, right at this moment, kind of forces us to reevaluate how political narratives are built. And, what criteria really get prioritized when we're defining someone's legacy, especially when there are ongoing controversies swirling around.
That's a great point. That simultaneous unfolding of severe personal trouble and this huge national recognition, it creates a real tension.
Yeah. For anyone following public affairs, definitely.
Absolutely. And Giuliani, I mean, we remember him as America's mayor, right?
Yeah.
So widely celebrated.
Yeah.
But in recent years, he's also been, let's say, embroiled in some pretty significant controversies.
That's putting it mildly, perhaps.
Yeah. So, okay, in this deep dive, we're going to try and unpack the full story behind these headlines. We'll look at the details of the accident, his recovery,
right.
President Trump's specific reasons, as stated, for giving him the Medal of Freedom.
And the bigger picture.
Exactly. The long, often contradictory public life that took him from being this national hero to, well, a figure of really intense debate. We'll be drawing straight from the sources you shared, news reports, official statements, historical accounts, trying to give you a clear, balanced picture.
Okay, so our mission today is really to pull out the key bits of knowledge from these sources, help you understand not just what happened, but maybe what these events tell us about, public service and political recognition in America today.
All right, let's dive in. Let's start with that weekend's tumult, the crash, and Giuliani's recovery. Because this wasn't just a fender bender. The sources make it sound like a pretty serious, high-impact collision.
Yeah, it happened Saturday night, August 30th, northbound I-93 in New Hampshire. Giuliani was the passenger.
Right, in a rented Ford Bronco. His spokesperson, Ted Goodman, was driving.
And here's where the story gets another layer, according to what we've seen. Before the actual crash, their vehicle had apparently stopped to help a woman who was involved in a domestic violence incident. Giuliani reportedly called 911 for her, waited for police.
Okay, wow. That's a significant detail just before the crash happens, a sort of civic duty moment.
Right. But his security chief, Michael Ragusa, made it clear the crash itself was, quote, entirely unrelated to that stop. It happened after they got back on the highway.
Got it. And what's really striking is that state police were apparently already nearby because of that domestic violence report.
Yeah, they actually witnessed the crash.
They saw it happen. And they noted both cars hit the median, heavily damaged. That really confirms how severe the impact must have been.
Definitely. And the immediate result was Giuliani being hospitalized. The sources list a fractured thoracic vertebra, multiple cuts, bruises, specific injuries to his left arm and lower leg.
That's serious stuff for anyone, let alone someone who's 81.
No question. But his spokesperson said on Sunday his condition was improving. And by Monday, the plan was for him to get fitted with a brace, start physical therapy.
And maybe be discharged in a few days.
That was the expectation. Yeah.
Okay. And despite these pretty severe injuries, the statements coming from his team sounded really resilient.
They did. A spokesperson said he was in good spirits and famously quoted him saying, a little car accident won't be slowing him down.
Right. And added he was eager to return to business and continue fighting for this country.
Yeah.
That kind of determination, even while recovering, it definitely plays into that persistent public image his team projects.
It does. And that narrative of resilience coming from his spokespeople, it sets quite a backdrop as we pivot to the equally stunning news that came just hours later.
Exactly. It's against that backdrop personal recovery, this unyielding image that we get to this other huge development, the Presidential Medal of Freedom announcement.
On Monday, September 1st, just 2 days after the crash.
And importantly, the same day he was supposedly getting ready to leave the hospital. The speed of it all is just Remarkable.
It really is. And maybe if we connect this to the bigger picture, it helps to understand what the Medal of Freedom actually is.
Good idea.
It's the highest civilian honor in the country, right? Established back in '63 by JFK.
Okay.
And the criteria are pretty clear. It's for an especially meritorious contribution to the security or national interest of the United States, or to world peace, or to cultural or other significant public or private endeavors.
So really outstanding contributions to American life.
That's the idea. It's meant for people who've made a truly significant mark.
And President Trump's justification for giving it to Giuliani was very direct, very praising.
Extremely. He announced it on Truth Social on Labor Day, calling Giuliani the greatest mayor in the history of New York City and an equally great American patriot.
Strong words. And it's worth noting, like you said, Trump's announcement didn't mention the car crash at all. It was focused purely on Giuliani's public record.
Right. And the main achievement cited both by Trump and the White House, according to our sources, is clearly his leadership after 9/11.
Yeah, that defining moment.
That period earned him the title America's Mayor, which everyone recognizes. His spokesperson, Ted Goodman, really emphasized that, saying Giuliani comforted the nation following 9/11. That phrase kind of captures the feeling back then.
And Goodman didn't stop there, did he?
No, he went further. Said Giuliani took down the mafia, saved New York City, and served in countless other ways to improve the lives of others. And finished with a pretty strong statement: there is no American more deserving of this honor. So the framing from his team and the president is very clear. Focus on these major positive impacts.
Okay. But it's also worth maybe looking at the broader context of who else President Trump has given this medal to.
That's a fair point. Our sources do mention a pattern. He's awarded it to athletes, cultural figures, sure, but also, notably, quite a few political allies.
Like who?
Well, examples given include Rush Limbaugh, the conservative radio host, and Republican lawmakers like Jim Jordan and Devin Nunes.
Okay.
And this pattern has, sometimes drawn criticism. Some observers felt those selections might have been politically motivated, maybe used to boost certain political narratives.
That's a really crucial point to bring up, because it makes you wonder, doesn't it, about the underlying dynamic with these awards sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Are they purely about celebrating universally agreed upon achievements? Or do they sometimes act as like a reinforcement of political loyalty, kind of cementing someone's place within a specific political story?
That's the question these situations raise, definitely. And understanding those different interpretations is part of what this deep dive is about.
Okay, so this brings us to maybe the most complex part of this whole story. Giuliani's own evolving public life. It's quite a journey, isn't it? From being hailed as America's mayor.
Universally, yeah.
To becoming such a divisive figure today. He was mayor of New York from 94 through 2001, a pretty significant tenure.
And his leadership right after the 9/11 attack, that was undeniably his defining moment. It really cemented that America's mayor title, not just here, but around the world.
He became a symbol. Strength, resilience.
For so many people, yes. That was really the peak of his public approval. And after being mayor, he even ran for the Republican presidential nomination for Representative.
Right, which shows how prominent he was nationally back then. He had broad appeal.
He did. But that trajectory from such widespread admiration, it does raise the question, how did someone once so praised become so, controversial?
Yeah. And our sources point to a really sharp contrast with his more recent history. The controversies, the legal battles, they've really reshaped how many people see him.
Well, one of the biggest shifts was probably when he got disbarred as a lawyer.
Right, in both New York and Washington, D.C.
Yeah. And that came after findings that he'd repeatedly made false statements about the 2020 election results regarding President Trump's loss.
And disbarment, that's a huge deal for a lawyer. It basically strips you of your license, signals a major ethical breach.
It's a very severe professional consequence. And then, on top of that, he's facing actual criminal charges now.
In Georgia and Arizona, right.
Correct. Related to his alleged role in trying to overturn the 2020 election. Now, our sources are clear, he denies those allegations.
Okay.
But those cases are still active, adding to this really complex and contested public image he has now.
And there was that other huge legal fight, the defamation lawsuit. That one had very real human costs.
Yeah, the one involving the former Georgia election workers, Ruby Freeman and Wandrea Shea Moss. A jury awarded them, what was it? $148 million.
A staggering amount.
Yeah.
Because the jury found Giuliani had defamed them with baseless claims about ballot fraud.
And those claims, as the sources detail, led to death threats against them, genuine fear for their safety. That case really highlighted the real-world impact of his statements.
And did he pay that? The sources mentioned something about a settlement.
His lawyer stated later, in January 2025, that he'd fully paid that judgment through a pretty abrupt settlement.
Okay, but then, almost right after that massive judgment, he filed for bankruptcy in 2023.
Yeah, which has led to more legal wrangling over his assets. It just adds another layer of financial and public difficulty.
You see this arc: national hero status, immense praise. Then this dramatic pivot to serious legal battles, ethical questions, things that have challenged not just his career and finances, but also, as we heard, deeply impacted individuals caught up in his public claims.
It's a really complex mix of events. It truly highlights how difficult it can be to evaluate a public figure's legacy, especially when it covers such dramatically different phases of public perception and legal trouble.
So, wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening? We've covered a lot of ground here. A really serious car crash, a quick recovery framed by his team is showing determination. And then this sudden announcement of the nation's highest civilian honor. All for a man whose public life contains both incredible highs and deep, deep controversies.
Right. So hopefully you've gained some key insights into what happened immediately, the reasons given for the Medal of Freedom based on our sources, and that bigger, complicated historical context of Giuliani's whole career.
Yeah, this deep dive really underscores how public figures can embody so many different things at once, sometimes things that seem to contradict each other.
And how different people, using different lenses, can interpret the same legacy in vastly different ways. It shows the complexity of public perception, moments of heroism existing alongside periods of intense legal and ethical scrutiny.
Understanding that full picture, all sides of it, is really crucial for having an informed view, I think.
Agreed.
Absolutely. And this whole story, it really offers a powerful point for reflection. Maybe here's a provocative thought to leave you with. When we evaluate a public figure's meritorious contributions for an honor like the Medal of Freedom,
Yeah.
how much weight should we give to their entire public life, including all the later controversies?
Versus how much weight goes to specific defining moments like 9/11 that earned them that widespread acclaim in the first place.
Exactly. Is it like a cumulative grade for their whole career? Or can certain extraordinary moments stand apart, almost on their own?
It's a tough question. No easy answers.
Definitely not. We hope this deep dive has given you plenty to chew on as you think about the complexities of public legacy and political recognition today.